Good morning, happy Thursday, and welcome to this week's Market of the Moment. I appreciate everybody who takes the time to join us each week and check this out. If you're here, then welcome. If you've been there, we have a lot of new faces on today. So, and I am so excited to thank our guests. We have a couple people that are out for various reasons, and I have to tell you, Shelby and Mike were my champions yesterday when I was a little panicked on who was going to fill in. So I would like to first welcome Ms. Shelby DiBiase, owner of the DiBiase team at eXp Realty. Good morning, Shelby. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning, Don. Thank you so much for having me.
If that's for me, I'm not here. So just tell them.
I love when that happens. Like
my computer, I don't know how to shut my computer off from calling.
Yeah.
So thank you, Don, for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm super excited to join you guys this morning and join the fun. This is fun. I love to do stuff like this. So thank you.
And we'll be seeing Shelby again today. Shelby's bringing us our market update. But Shelby brings a lot to the real estate community as well, and we're going to be having Shelby join us again in the future to kind of dive into some of the things that she does with her team and building business and all that as well. So, but again, thank you for joining us on the fly, Shelby. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. So while I was out, and I swore off that after that week when I was gone, that any of the people who were on the screen were never going to be allowed back on Market of the Moment because they made so much fun of me while I was out enjoying the Notre Dame game. But Mr. Mike Certo did a great job that day, as always, and Mike is back again today. Mike, thank you again. Mike answered the text yesterday. I said, Mike, is there any way you could be on tomorrow at 10? And I got back, I would love it. And so, Mike, thank you. I appreciate it.
Great answer.
Yeah, Don, appreciate the opportunity. And, we've got a powerhouse here today and just really enjoy the show. So nice work.
Excellent. Thank you. So, and for those of you who don't know, Mike is with Fairway Independent Mortgage. Mike has been a great partner for Fidelity for a really long time. And I can tell you there was a time when I was buying a house and Mike was not my loan officer, and I was on an airplane and I had things going sideways. And I'm texting Mike, and Mike is helping me get things straightened out on something that wasn't even his deal. And so this guy, yeah, exactly. He's a mortgage ninja. So thank you, Mike. We appreciate you being on, and we're looking forward to hearing about what's going on out there in the mortgage world.
Absolutely.
And almost every week, but apparently Sharon's bailing on me next week. Almost every week, Miss Sharon Terhune is here joining us. And Sharon is the Vice President of Sales for Fidelity National Title, and she's in charge of keeping me in line. So her responsibilities are big.
Full-time job, Don. Full-time job. And then some.
But thank you, Sharon, for co-hosting with me each week and helping us facilitate such great conversations.
I'm excited for our lineup today and all these new faces. This is great. This will be a great hour. So hopefully you're joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Sharon. So, okay, and so this week we are focused on talking about networking in business and building business relationships. And so I have recently met Kevin a couple months ago. We met and we've been working together. And Kevin reached out to me probably 3 or 4 weeks ago and asked me about an interest in the BNI group, and I was like, well, I'm not really sure. And Kevin did an amazing job of showing me the value of being in such an organization. And somebody who is immersed in the real estate world as I am, it's so refreshing to hear people talk about other businesses as well, and to be able to draw the parallels and draw the differences. And so Mr. Kevin Weil of Remax Excalibur, Kevin, thank you for joining us. Thank you for what you've already shared with me in my career, and looking forward to doing a lot more in the future.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So today, with our topic being about business networking, and Kevin, let's talk about what you do first. Let's talk about your business in real estate a little bit to start off, and then we'll kind of
residential real estate. I am not geographic, so I'm all over the valley, and I'm not tied to a specific price point. So I literally have $80,000 escrow right now, and it's really a house or townhouse, believe it or not. Lots of bugs in it. Lots of bugs in it. And I also have a $4.1 million escrow. So I kind of run the gamut in price range and area. But of course, I only work in the Valley. If a client wants a property up north, I just refer that to somebody.
Excellent. And so how long have you been in real estate, Kevin? And
well, I've been in real estate for 17 years. I actually had a real estate license since the 90s, but I didn't think that I had, I didn't have a good impression of realtors, and I didn't think that I'd gone to college to be a realtor, right? And so I finally got the nerve to leave corporate America and do what I wanted to do all along, which is sell real estate. And so, yeah, it's been about 17 years.
Wow. Okay. Excellent. And so Kevin, when we met, we were doing some networking, some different kind of networking as far as introductions to some different systems and groups that had control over some buyers, and that's kind of how we met. But from there, with BNI and all that, we've had the opportunity to talk about other people and other. So there's folks that are in our community, in the real estate community, but there's also folks that are out of it. So you do such a great job, and Kevin speaks every week at the BNI group, and he talks about the values of the group. And so can you kind of share that with us a little bit, Kevin?
Yeah, for those folks who aren't too familiar with BNI, there's probably about 70 chapters in the Valley, and there are thousands of chapters over the world. It's a networking group where each chapter has no more than one of each category. And it's very formulaic. So basically BNI is kind of like McDonald's or the Catholic Church. If you went to one in Spain, they may speak a different language, but the order and the flow is going to be essentially the same. And that's kind of the reason why there's no Pepsi to the Coke, because there really is no other network organization that's like BNI. And probably the reason is because there is a formula that's followed. So everybody's invested to be there. And because everybody's there once a week, you're going to see people are top of mind because you're thinking about them. You're going to see them again next week. And so you're more likely to refer those people. And, I network with a lot of people that are outside of BNI. But if to think about from a realtor standpoint or a business owner, we systemize things, right? So they actually happen. And so, I could intend that, I'm going to go and, spend some time with my plumber this week and with my landscaper and all those things. But if there's not a system in place, it's probably more thought about and more haphazard than it is, actually executed on. And so, in BNI, every chapter has different categories. Now, everybody's going to have a financial planner and a realtor and a few others. But then there's a lot of categories that may be like my HVAC tech. If of 70 chapters in the Valley, I would say maybe 8 to 10 have an HVAC person. And so he has the ability to visit other BNI chapters, and they're a warm market. They're going to trust him because he's in BNI and are likely going to refer business to him. So there's a lot of business that gets referred. And then there's other ancillary, things that we all benefit from by networking with other people who are business owners in ancillary fields, right? We see how somebody's doing something, and then we emulate that and make it fit our business. And so, that's a lot of what BNI is. One of the big advantages, besides there's people that are going to refer you business, is that you have all these people who you have a relationship with and who care about your business, and they make you look good. And so, in my business, one of the ways that I try to be attractive to my clientele is I make an effort to train them from the beginning that I have all these resources to help them fix their house up, whatever the case may be. And I think we all try to do that, but because I have a set of people, and not just in BNI, but others as well, that make me look good, my clients are less likely to forget about me. And so the probably the best way I have of getting business from my old clients is I get texts, and I don't think there's ever been a week that's gone by that I haven't got more than one text where somebody asks me if I have, some trade or something. I got 2 yesterday, and one I was going to look at my phone and look at the text. I could read it, but it was basically a past client who was asking about a bathroom remodel. And so, I think a lot of my past clients might have, I hope not, but forgotten about me, except that I have some value, even if they're not going to buy a house anytime soon or sell a house. They know that I use these people over and over again. And, I think that it's easy as a realtor to say, hey, I'm your source for this and that. And, I know all these people. But I think what they see early on, my clients and my friends, is that I'm actually using these people over and over again. So they're more important to, or maybe I'm more important to them than I would be to somebody else. Like, I can meet somebody who's a painter. I have a good painter, by the way. And that person, I can say, I know this person, I have their phone number, and then I can refer them. But I can't say, I've used her multiple times. And so I think what happens is, because I have these close relationships, especially in BNI and other places too, of people that I use over and over again, that is noticed by people, and they're more likely to put trust into who I refer them than if it was just some arbitrary person. Because how on Facebook or Nextdoor, someone will say, do you have a landscaper? And then on Nextdoor, 18 people say, oh, I have this landscaper. Well, they're putting down someone who's their friend and who they like and who they use. But you don't know if they've used him, 5 times or 50 times or just the next door neighbor. And so I think that those close relationships in BNI are beneficial, because when you use someone over and over again, and then you refer them to somebody, and they realize that you and your clients have used these people multiple times, I think they put more trust in them than if it was just somebody whose number I had and I could say, oh yeah, he's a great landscaper.
Well, and Kevin, I think to even take that a step further, right? So first, I guess I'm going to step back first, and the importance in this. So if you're a realtor and you're growing your business and you're looking for important things to be doing and growing your business, having a network of trusted referrals is important. Whether it's BNI or you've developed it some other way, it's important to have it, because this gives you a reason to talk to your people. Right? It gives you a reason to talk to your clients and a reason for your clients to reach out. So Kevin has clearly established himself as a trusted advisor to his folks, not only in the process of buying a home, but when they need a painter, that they're reaching out to Kevin and saying, hey, who do you suggest for this? So Kevin gets to stay in touch with them and gets to stay in top of mind for that. But we also talk about, what do we do? So what the statistic, I forget what it is, but something like 85% of people never talk to their agent again after they close on their house, right? It's some horrible statistic like that. Well, and the reason is people get stuck in, well, what am I going to talk to them about? What am I going to call them about? Well, if we track their home anniversary and we track things like this, and we have those resources as a good reason to reach out, hey, Sharon, I know when you purchased your home, you said that, somewhere down the line, you were going to look at doing a bathroom remodel. You've been in the house for 9 months now, and I just wanted to check in with you. I've got a great contractor who does amazing work on these kind of things. Just wanted to check in with you and see if it was time for that referral or if I should check back later. And now here I am. I'm bringing something of value to Sharon, right? So
and this is so important what you're saying, Don, today, especially because there's so much squirrels out there right now with social media, and everyone can touch anybody they want. TV commercials, there's so many reasons that they may or may not think of you. And yes, you are correct. It is like 70 or 80%, but it's what it is they don't even remember the name of the agent that sold their house, which is shocking.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But that's not Shelby and that's not Kevin, because they have amazing databases and they keep track of their people and they touch them. So, yes.
We do. I could share just a little bit about some of the things that we're doing.
Yes.
I think, what Kevin said is so true. And, I think when I go on some of my appointments, a couple of things I'd like to touch on is just like how I use my sphere, my network, my group of people to really, when I go on a listing appointment, I don't just go on a listing appointment and, do my comps and tell them how much I can sell your house for, I begin working for them immediately. When I go in and I see their house needs painting, I'm like, hey, if you really want to maximize, your purchase price, I would recommend giving this a fresh coat of paint. I would recommend replacing the carpet. Do you have anybody? If not, I've got a great painter that can give you a quote. And most people say, I kind of have a guy, maybe, let me see. And I said, you know what? Let me text him right now. His name's Larry. He's awesome. He can, and I literally text him right when I'm sitting there. And I said, my painter, Larry, you're going to love him. He's the sweetest guy ever. I'm going to text him right now and see if he can come over sometime this week. And no joke, I put the phone down and literally, there's Larry. Larry said he can come tomorrow. What time? And I'm setting up appointments for them. I don't have the listing appointment, but I'm actually setting up appointments for my clients right then and there. And I'm like, okay, your carpet, I've got a wholesale carpet company I work for. I'm pretty sure I can get you better prices than anyone. Let me text Juan. Juan is great. He can come over here to, and I literally do this with my clients. And so I am I'm literally showing them how I can help them right away. And I'm willing to work for them without even getting the job. And I kind of really take it as like, I'm your agent and I'm going to start working for you right now. And I'm going to prove it by, I'm going to show you. And I just kind of keep going with it. So the next time, like, how did it go with Larry? Larry said, you guys, $1,200. What do you think for the paint job? He said he could come Saturday. Yeah, that would work, and before you know it, they feel like we already have a relationship. This lady's helping me so much. And I'm like, all right, let's do that. And when you finish decluttering the stuff I talked about, do you want me to come over on Friday? I'd love to look at it again. And before you know it, and this is just how I use my network to really bring value. Because I think as agents, a lot of people say to themselves, well, if you hire me, I'm going to come over and, help you stage your home. Mm-hmm. I'm going to actually spend the time right now to show you what I'm going to do and what my suggestions are. So that's one of the way I'm using my network. And we are all about past clients. I think that I realized 3 years ago, there's a lot of major companies that are taking our business. I was a big spender with Zillow before they started doing the new Flex program. So I changed a lot of the things I was doing in my business to be very connected to my clients. My clients know exactly who I am a month after the closing and 6 months after the closing and a year after, because we're doing 4 client appreciation parties a year. We do birthday texts. We do anniversary text. I send them text messages and offer them a cup of coffee at Starbucks, once a year. Hey, I'm thinking about you. Would you like a coupon to Starbucks? And we are staying connected with our clients because there is so much disruption, like Sharon said, and there's people are waving big flags. They're on commercials or doing all these things. And if you don't put yourself in front of your clients on a very, very consistent basis, we mailed out, football calendars to our clients. So they have that. I want to do the garbage. There's like a trash pickup. You can trash pickup and, we're going to send that out in January. What can you do to bring value to stay in front of your clients? Top of mind. It's so crucial at this time.
Well, and what I love about what you just said, Shelby, and what it ties so well into what Kevin's saying as well, about leveraging your tribe, for lack of better, explanation, which I love calling it my tribe, my people, leveraging them, because I'll bet you, Shelby, that your guy now turns around and endorses you while he's painting the house, right? It's like, wow, gosh, are you listed with Shelby yet? I mean, absolutely, endorsement, third-party endorsement, amazing, great job, guys.
Yeah, and on this same topic, I think that when you make that call to Larry, Shelby, or Kevin, you're reaching out to Megan or Scott or whoever it is, that right now getting contractors isn't easy, right? Getting good quality people is hard right now. So those folks, because they understand the value of the relationship with you, because of how you've networked with them, they understand the value, that they're more quick to respond to get connected to your folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. I want to give a shout out to my contractor, Mike Busby. No kidding. That man does so much for me, and he never lets me down. And he always comes when I need him. And I know he's super busy, and I know I probably drive him completely insane sometimes. But I'm telling you, he's so good to me, and I just can't thank my partners enough, honestly,
Yeah.
because they make me look good.
Right.
Like contractor coming in at the 11th hour,
Absolutely.
painter, and so having a valued group of people to work with is imperative.
Yeah.
Well, and on our side, we're always hearing about, hey, what do a lot of people, a lot of agents, a lot of lenders have that call hesitancy, right? They don't want to call and ask for business. But what a great way to connect with your past clients. Hey, are you looking at doing any house projects? Do you need any services? Do you need, what's the next 12 months look like for you? Do you have anything on the radar that I could help, connect you? And what a valued call that is. It's genuine, right? You're truly looking to help your past clients, and you have all of these people that you know and you trust, as far as, people that are contractors, pool guys, and, especially with how busy people are, the reliability of people has fallen, over the last 12 months because, contractors are so busy. So what a great way to, offer a valued call to your previous clients and just say, hey, I was thinking about you. Do you have any house projects? I'd love to connect you with my network. I just wanted to make sure that, you had people that you could trust. And, then you're putting yourself in front of your previous clients. It's an easy call to make, just to offer, services of people that you know and trust. So I like that. Great.
Mike, what you just said is so smart. And in taking that one more level, you just triggered something in my head. Honestly, it could be a Facebook post, a phone call, it could be a text message, it could be an email, but it could almost be a monthly thing of you spotlighting a different, partner in your business and a part of your tribe there, a different person. Instead of saying, hey, let me connect you to all these people. Hey, we have a new partner on board, hey, now we got this amazing painter. Anybody need a painter? And you're really just focusing on one of them at a time. And, and if you don't have a new one, the next month is just, hey guys, I can't help but talk about Tony. He's so amazing. He fixes garages. He's the most amazing guy ever. Anybody got a broken garage out there and you're looking for somebody? Don't go through the, don't Google it. Let me refer you, because obviously you're going to get the best service there. So, I mean, you really can utilize that. You never would have a reason not to reach out to your database with what you guys are doing, ever.
Yeah. And so, Kevin, you mentioned about having the folks that were, in the BNI group, right? And that there's this group there, and then you've got the other BNI groups around the valley that you can attend anytime, as long as you don't have a duplicate trade, correct?
Yeah, so I can't attend any other groups because every group's going to have a realtor, right? But those folks who are in categories that aren't in every group can visit any other group that doesn't have their category. And so there's an awful lot of categories that are probably represented in 5 BNI chapters or 15 or whatever. And so the smart people go out of their way to just, okay, I'm going to be. A lot of them are on Zoom now. So a lot of the chapters are on Zoom. Some are in person. So it's real easy to attend. And folks who've been in BNI for a while are going to be very predispositioned to trust those people and to use them because they have been vetted. And so, like I've used a locksmith, Ginger Martin is her name, for more than a decade. I mean, I guess I must be older than I thought because I don't know how long I've been working with her now. But she's in another BNI. I have no idea what chapter she's in. Doesn't matter. But she does a great job for me. And I go out of my way to find resources in other chapters of BNI because they are vetted and they are trustworthy. And let's pretend for a minute that my HVAC guy wasn't the best out there, right? He's really awesome, but let's pretend he wasn't. For my clients, he would probably do a better job than he would on average because he's going to see me each week, and there's a level of accountability. And the same thing with someone who's in another chapter, I just trust that, if someone's in BNI, then they understand and they're going to make me look good. And that's what I really like, kind of like what Shelby said, like we want people to make us look good. And And I think, having a bunch of resources like that, it's funny because I get calls all the time from people who want to buy, my house, or people who want to recruit me and all that. And I never get calls from trades who want to be my plumber or my this. Those people, I could do a lot more for those people than I could the people who actually do call me. But because I'm always looking for more. And, as much as I say I have this resource and that, there's tons of resources that I don't have. And so when I'm at client's house and they tell me, oh, I've got this great, whatever the case may be, I get that number because I might need that person. And actually the home inspector that I use predominantly, who's in another chapter of BNI, I got him from a client. I mean, this was probably like 6 or 7 years ago, but she just raved about him, and I thought, oh, if he's that great, I'll give him a try. And I have to imagine I've used him hundreds of times now. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the other part that I wanted to make sure that I hit on is that, like, so, and again, this is, and BNI is such a great example of this, but even if it's not through BNI, and we were actually on our call Tuesday, Kevin and I held up this stack of business cards that's over here on the corner of my desk from a event I did with the Amy Jones group the other day, a business networking event with them. And it's, it's when they know that you've got the capacity to refer them multiple times, then they are far more likely to step up and do a better job, I think, right? Most people. Sharon, I know that I'm pretty sure you remember there was a story of a plumber that was in the networking group that we had established a few years back, and he went to a luxury home and they wanted, these special fancy toilets put in, and he sat there with the homeowner ridiculing the choice to put in these fancy toilets because it's a toilet. And I would hope that the people that we refer have a little more couth to say, look, at this is this is obviously the choice that they made. It's more than a functionality choice when you're buying $1,000 toilet. It's more than, it's about design, it's about aesthetics, it's about other things than just functionality. And
well, he was in a luxury home, so
right, exactly. And
that might have been a cue.
Yeah. So, but having those people that you don't have to, I'm sure that Larry is not going to go in and tell people that their choices of paint colors are hideous. Now, he might try to help them, right? He might try to say, all right, so hot pink isn't a great choice for your formal dining room. If you're looking to sell the house, and you talk to Shelby about this color or things like that, right? But
it's agreeable gray. Larry knows Larry knows it's agreeable gray every time. That's what we use.
Yeah. But it's amazing when we have these people that we can trust that to be in these conversations and to help us look good, and in turn we help them look good, and everybody ends up better. That's how you get the text messages that you get, Kevin. That's how you guys have these great relationships with people, because you can trust the people that you're bringing into their world. Yeah. Let me ask a question. This was not really what we discussed beforehand, but it's still on topic. And like small local businesses, do either of you do much to kind of do a networking piece around like maybe the mom and pop restaurants or the mom and pop dry cleaners or those kind of organizations as well? Is that part of what you guys are currently doing in your business networking?
So
if not, I've got plans for it. So we're going to get there.
For me, most of the networking I do is folks that can help my clients, not so much restaurants and other businesses, exposing them, which would be a great idea. And I know there's agents who post a lot of stuff about, community events and interview different types of people in the community and restaurants. And that's a great plan. It's not something that I've personally done. I personally I got a client texted me yesterday again for a tax person. It's more like that. And so I'm not good at, we're all good at certain things and not other things, right? I'm not that one who's out, in downtown Scottsdale filming myself, eating in a restaurant, which is a great plan, but that's just not something that I've personally done.
Well, I actually haven't been doing that. I've been actually this morning, I was just thinking about that. I moved into a new office complex. I don't know all my neighbors yet. And I thought, what a great way for me to get to know my neighbors. I mean, I'm going into places, but I'm not even saying I'm in real estate. And it's not really about even me telling them I'm in real estate. Like, I really want to know and be able to share, with everyone in the area about the local businesses, because I think not enough real estate agents are doing that. And so to get started, I was really thinking this morning I should go and in my little plaza and interview everyone in there at this super cute little coffee shop that I go into. The lady is so nice every time I go in there, and I would love to help promote her business because I didn't even know it was there until I moved in there. So it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that that's one of those things where I think there's a lot of fun that could be had with it, and a lot of and I know Sharon and I have been working on putting together a whole marketing strategy around that, which we're going to be rolling out here in the next 30 days or so. So if you guys are, we'll get more into that as we get that rolling. And if you guys are interested in participating in it, if you're watching this and you're interested in learning about that, we've got some great strategies we've been working on putting together on that. So excellent. Well, thank you guys both for your input and your feedback on that business networking part. I think that is of just such a huge importance to have those, especially those home related services that we can be that trusted advisor for. So Kevin, thank you so much, and Shelby, thank you for your input on there as well. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So, okay, we're going to pivot over to Mr. Mike Certo with Fairway Independent Mortgage, and Mike is going to tell us about money, and so we all like that topic, and we all like that subject, and we definitely like when Mike is selling it as cheap as he's been selling it these days. So how are things looking out there, Mike?
Things are really stable right now. We've got a couple mix-ups in the industry going on right now. We've got some good questions to cover today. First of all, let's talk conforming loan limits. Right now, a lot of our real estate partners are getting emails on conventional loan limits already going up to $625,000. And truly, nobody in the industry knows what the conforming loan limits are going to be. Right around things, excuse me. Right around Thanksgiving of every year is when the FHFA announces what the new conforming loan limits all over the country are going to be. And what a lot of mortgage companies are doing right now is we already know that home prices all over the country have been on an upward trajectory, that's at a much steeper pace than any other year in the last decade. So what a lot of lenders are doing is we're making a bet that conventional loan limits are going to be a minimum of $625,000. Now, we truly don't know what they're going to be. Those are still yet to be announced, but several lenders, here locally in Arizona and all over the country are already saying, hey, we know they're going to be greater than $625,000. Let's go ahead and start making our conventional loan limits be $625,000. And then when those are announced, we're going to reset based on what the FHFA tells us. So that's why not all lenders are doing this, but there's a lot of those big lenders like Fairway Independent Mortgage, that are saying, hey, we're going to go ahead and set conventional loan limits as of last week at $625,000, which is a huge pickup for the industry, not only here in Arizona, but all over the country. So that's why you're seeing some lenders say, hey, $625,000, we're good to go. Behind the scenes, what we're going to do is we're going to hold those loans until January when we can deliver those to Fannie and Freddie. Okay. Now, keep in mind that this is Fairway Independent Mortgage money or any other mortgage company. So we're still going to have what we call overlays, meaning, hey, we're going to set the amount of risk that we want to take on these loans, until the FHFA comes out and makes that announcement. So there's a good possibility that they're going to be over $625,000, come November, right around Thanksgiving time when that information is released. Also, we haven't seen a bump in FHA limits just because we can't insure those loans with the federal government. So FHA, we have to still use 2020 or FHA loan limits But for conforming, we have the ability to bank those internally, until we sell those. So, again, great news, 625,000. We can roll with that today. We don't have to wait until the end of November when the conforming loan limits increase. Few other pieces of yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just a question around this. And so, so how does that affect people who are, or how should people look at this who are potentially, they're in a first and second loan, right? Because they couldn't get into the, for whatever reason, because we saw last year a lot of jumbo, or through 2020, a lot of jumbo packages weren't available, so people did first and seconds in order to be able to get the loan for the amount that they needed. Would this be something that those people should automatically be looking at refinances once that is established? How does that typically affect them?
Yeah, it's a good question. So if you are one of those people and you do have a second mortgage, you want to be cognizant, if it's a home equity line of credit, of that interest rate being on the rise here in the next 3 to 5 years, because it is a variable interest rate. So if you did take out a first and second, you've got a decent amount drawn on that second mortgage. It's a great time to look at consolidating those two loans into one loan, and getting off of a variable interest rate before the Federal Reserve starts to increase the Fed funds rate, which is going to affect those rates on the home equity line of credit. So yeah, definitely get ahead of that. And take a look at it. It's we have a lot of clients that are looking at buying that $700,000-$800,000 mark, and typically you get the best rate on a jumbo loan at 20% down. That doesn't mean that there aren't options on a jumbo loan that are 10% down or 5% down. However, your best bang for your buck as far as your interest rate goes is when you fall into conventional loan limits. So the nice thing for lenders and consumers alike is it's going to take a big piece of that $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 price point, with a higher down payment, and put those clients into being able to qualify for a conventional mortgage.
I muted myself here. The pool guy showed up. The dog was barking. So sorry. Actually, no, I appreciate that feedback. And I think that it's so easy to, okay, well, great, this is better. But another reason is we talk about reasons to talk to our past clients. This is one of those reasons, right? This is one of those reasons why, to give us a way that it doesn't feel like we're trying to sell them another house, and doesn't feel like we're that it's anything other than we're trying to help them, because that we now know there's a change in the financial industry that could potentially help them. So,
yes, absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, I know you have some other things you wanted to cover as well.
Yeah. What are interest rates doing, right? It's on everybody's mind. We can honestly tell you we've been asking this question for several years, and it's never going to stop. Currently, our current administration is pulling back on buying mortgage-backed securities. It's what we call, technically speaking, quantitative easing. And so, our U.S. government is the biggest purchaser of mortgage-backed securities, which drives the interest rate market. As the Fed pulls back on buying mortgage-backed securities, we're going to naturally see rates go up. And we've already seen this effect built into the market over the last 60 days. So, long-term forecasts, we're going to be in a rising interest rate market, most likely here in the next 12 to 24 months as the federal government pulls back on buying mortgage-backed securities. So if you have clients that are on the fence, we always like to talk about the crystal ball of what rates are doing. Now a little bit of the technical indicators of what the mortgage industry is seeing and why interest rates are going to continue on a slow upward rise over the next 12 to 24 months. Last piece of industry news, more so for real estate agents, letting you know a little bit about what's going on. It does affect us all, and that's the new CFPB director. For those of you who don't know, the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, that is an office that is going to be in place for the next 5 years. And that CFPB director, is really driving the consumer risk, right? What do they want to be a watchdog for? Do they want to be a watchdog for student loans? Do they want to be a watchdog for credit card companies or banking or mortgage? And all of the CFPB CFPB directors, kind of have their hot point. And unfortunately for everybody in the mortgage industry, the new CFPB director is really targeting mortgage companies, which, hey, great, they're a watchdog, for consumers, but we may see some tightening on regulations and restrictions in the mortgage industry. So just as a heads up, buckle up. It might be a little bit of a ride with the new CFPB director.
Yeah, and that's some good information to make sure people are aware to keep an eye out for that, and that when changes like that happen, then we need to make sure that we're prepared for change. So so how are we doing on rates, Mike? How's all that looking right now? And I know the whole crystal ball thing is something we can't really look into, but how do you see things for the rest of the year?
Things should be stable. I mean, you're still talking about the high 2s, low 3s, depending on a client's qualification. So historically speaking, still a phenomenal time to buy a property, right? But when the industry is used to, rates in the mid, kind of the upper 2 range, and we start seeing rates in the low 3% range, we start to say, okay, hey, we're already starting to see that, upward trend. Now, again, the markets have already built in, the quantitative easing, so we've already seen that movement and that kind of that knee-jerk reaction to the Fed saying, hey, we're going to start pulling back, on supporting the long-term rate market. But yeah, I mean, if we see an 8% movement in the next 90 days, that's natural. That's the type of movement that we're anticipating seeing, every quarter, for the next 12 to 24 months. Not something that's going to jump from 3 to 3.5% overnight. But yeah, we're still looking at an upward moving rate market. Inflation is really ugly right now. We're all seeing inflation, when you go to the grocery store, right? When you're going out to eat, you're seeing food prices go up. We're seeing just core consumer goods, start to increase, and it's starting to cramp, a few people's paychecks. So again, the Fed has to keep an eye on those inflation numbers and try to keep them in check.
Gotcha. Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that feedback. And anything else we should know about what's going on out there in the money?
No, it's just it's still a phenomenal time to be looking at if you've delayed refinancing your home and you just kind of push that to the back burner. You have a rate in the mid 3s, high 3s. We still see people in the 4% range. Get on that. Make it a goal before 2022 hits. To take a look, call a banker, call a mortgage pro, and make sure that you're having somebody review what you could potentially do. But that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you. So, Shelby, again, thank you for making the schedule changes you made today to join us. So I do really appreciate that, and we are really looking forward to hearing what's going on in the market. I forgot to warn you yesterday that we put a lot of pressure on whoever's doing the market update to bring us more inventory each week. So yeah, so hopefully, we can't hear you, Shelby.
Oh, I haven't really.
Okay. Yeah, we got you. So okay, so hopefully you've increased inventory a little bit this week, and we're in good shape.
Yes. So actually, market is one of my favorite things to talk about. I subscribe to the Cronford Report. I go to as many Tina Tambor classes as I possibly can. She's absolutely amazing. And, if you real estate agents out there are not going to her classes, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're doing your clients a disservice. I think one of the things that agents don't spend enough time on is not only educating yourself in the marketplace, but we're here to really educate our clients. When your clients want to come and they want to list their house at a certain price, or they want to do certain things, a lot of agents spend a lot of time trying to talk them out of doing what they want to do. And if you'll just spend more time educating your clients on what's going on, they will do what they need to do when they see the data. And so that's my favorite thing to do when I go to a client's house, is really dive into the market, show them the numbers. I am big on the Cronford report. Like I said, I look at it on a daily, weekly basis. Lots of good news, honestly, in general. I mean, we hit a low point of inventory. I think it was around March or April. It was almost down to 4,000 homes for sale.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in the business a long time. The last time we had, this kind of a market where it was just this frenzy, I think it got down as low as 6,000, but that was the lowest it ever got. So when it started going down to 4,000, I was like, wow, we're really doing this. We're keep going, And so now today we're at like 7,500 homes for sale. It does go up and down a little bit. It's kind of ranging in that 7,000 mark, 7,000 to 7,800, active, excluding the UCB homes for sale. And to give people a little bit of perspective, I mean, when the market crashed all the way, we were at 66,000 homes for sale, I think is around the worst. Okay. And so you're like, holy crap, But to give more perspective, 2 years ago, right now, we were at 14,000 homes for sale. So 7,500 is still low compared to 4,000. So people are like, oh, the inventory is going up. It's changing. It's going to crash. Here we go again. And, again, I love to educate my clients, and Tina says the same thing. We can't predict for sure what's going to happen because it changes and then it goes back down and it goes back up. You really need to keep focused on it and watch it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. But when we were selling, when we had active of 14,000 homes for sale 2 years ago, it was still a very good market. It wasn't the frenzy, but it was still probably a little bit more towards a seller's market than a buyer's market. Until we get up to like 18, 20,000 listings for sale, it's kind of more of a balanced market, I would say, before we start tipping towards the buyer's market. So I feel like we're in really great shape. There's an increase of 32% of builder permits over the last several months. So that's good news. We do want more inventory because the prices have gone up way too fast, which is not healthy. And so it's like, okay, are we going to have a dip down in prices? I believe that the dip down in prices that we're going to see, if we see price reductions in MLS right now, those are just people who were way out of range, okay? And we were being able to be way out of range and still get our price, but that is definitely slowing down. I am listing properties and selling them still, in a few day or a week period of time. But it's not the 40, 50 showings a day. And that's kind of where we were, which was very unhealthy. And so I feel really good about the market because there's a lot of great opportunities for buyers right now, in my opinion, who weren't able to compete with the cash offers. You're not having that frenzy of people the minute the home hits the market. So the poor FHA buyers and VA buyers, honestly, were kind of priced out of the market a couple months ago, and we are getting more contracts accepted. I got one with a down payment assistance accepted, the other day. And that was really difficult over the last several months because as a listing agent, I'm seeing almost 50% of my contracts, maybe not 50, but 40% of my contracts come in with cash offers. And so, cash offers are really difficult when they're willing to pay top dollar. They're not lowballing at cash, they're paying top dollar.
Yeah. It's important that we keep a couple of things in perspective, right? So because what we saw last spring was people were like, okay, well, that last house down the street sold for 400. So we're going to list this for 450 and see if we get 5, right? That's pretty much what was happening. And so now, so that house ended up selling for 475 and, which was way out of line, was way, crazy outside of what we would expect in a normal market. Well, now the next person, in those cases where we're seeing prices getting reduced, well, that next person is still coming in and trying to list the house, the next one for 550, and so now when they end up at 475 or 485 or whatever that number is, that's still, we're still seeing an increase in price and we're still seeing appreciation. Right. We're still, Absolutely. It's just already baked in. It's baked in now. We've talked about this multiple times on here, that frenzy part, which is taking place, is built in. It's not that the person bought for 475 and now selling for 425. That's definitely not the direction we're going.
Right. And I mean, we have, and I share this with clients too, because a lot of the buyers are like, well, I'm waiting for the market to crash. It's going to crash, and we have a healthy market. And the reason why I say that is, number one, more than 50% of the contracts are getting accepted at least 20% equity position, for sure, if not more. Okay.
Yeah.
So if the market does dip down, you have people with true equity in their home. They're not going to just bail on it. The reason we had the market crash before was these speculative and investors and even just regular homeowners were doing the 80-20 loan. They thought it was going to go up 50 and they were going to cash out. And when it didn't, they had nothing invested. So they bailed. All those people bailed, and then it created, well, crap. Now those people are bailing, and this inventory just kept going up. That's not going to happen. When not even close to what can happen. What will happen, none of us can really say. But what happened before is not going to happen. We're very healthy. We have tons of big companies moving here, lots of jobs. We have low property taxes that bring retired people to our state. Dry weather brings people to our state. I mean, we are one of the fifth. I think we're the top 5 cities for people moving here. I think we had 200 people moving here before the pandemic, and I heard it was 250 now. So there's tons of opportunities, tons of growth, tons of equity in the marketplace. I am very happy to be in such a healthy market, and I feel great about the real estate industry.
Well, there's not that inventory either, Shelby, like what you were referring to, where these houses aren't going to go into foreclosure and all of a suddenly all just get, dumped into, the foreclosure world, and all these properties hit the market because so many things are bought by cash. The best investors that are buying at high quantity, they're all cash buyers. They're not going to just dump the properties. They own them, They're
not. And the delinquencies that are out there, because everyone's like, well, when that stops, then we're going to have this mass foreclosure. People that are delinquent aren't necessarily in a negative equity position. They're just choosing not to pay their mortgage payment,
right,
unfortunately, and they have equity. And the minute it might go into foreclosure, they can put that house up for sale and sell it, put cash in their pocket, and walk away if they, can't stay in the home for some reason. So we're not going to have this max exodus of foreclosures. It's not.
Well, and even the rental market, people, the homes that folks have investment properties that are rented out. We're hearing, and Don, we've heard this multiple times on Market of the Moment, that they're not feeling like that there's been anybody lacking paying their rent. There was all that stipulation over the last this year. That a bunch of people are going to default and not pay their rent. In the rentals, that's not happening. That's just not happening.
Shelby, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
We've got the holidays coming up, right? And for those of us in the industry, we know, how kind of the holidays work. And, this year's been an anomaly. We've got a lot of buyers that have sidelined themselves because of buyer fatigue, right? I can't find a house. I put an offer on 15 houses. I'm just going to go rent, or right now is just not my time, or I don't want to buy at the top of the market. We've heard all of those things. So with the holidays coming up, I like your professional opinion. If somebody's listing out there and they put themselves on the sideline, how is the holiday shopping for home buyers in the housing market? Is it time to go? Like, well, everybody else is enjoying the holidays. Should they wait, until January when typically we see new listings come on the market? What's your professional opinion of the holiday season for buying?
Well, any buyer who's on the sidelines, they need to get out there with inventory where it's at. It's double what it was, 1 quarter ago. So alone, that's good. With interest rates, they're going to be on the rise next year. You've got to get out there and you've got to start looking, because there are some buyers that are holding back. So get in there and take this opportunity to, get your offer accepted when there's not as much attention on homes. I think everybody should be out there. There's there's never a time to be waiting. I just think waiting is never a good thing. Home ownership is always a good thing. You can't time the market exactly. The only way you could have timed the market exactly if you were like, I'm selling my house in 2006 and I'm going to rent until 2011 and I'm going to jump back in. Okay.
Yeah.
The only people that benefited if they did that, nobody did that. You know, it's like if you're buying high, if you're selling high, you're buying high. If you're selling low, you're buying low. So it's always a great time. So you've got to educate your clients on the way they think about the market and what they're doing, because it doesn't usually make sense when you show them the data and the numbers.
Hey, Shelby, I want to add on what you're saying because we just talked about this as well. What's interesting about the dynamic of what you just said is today is really, really the best time because money is so inexpensive. Okay.
Right.
So in addition to, yes, you're going to sell your house, get more value, you know, more money out of your house. Yes, you're going to pay a little bit more for a house, but the money to finance that house is so darn cheap. You're almost in the best of both worlds right now, which is kind of a crazy thing to think about. When's the last time we've had 3% or under interest rates? Like never. I don't know. You know,
Old houses when interest rates were like 8.5%, 9%, and we had to do a 2-1 buy down to make it make sense for people.
right.
So, you know, we're spoiled. You know, 2, 3, 4, 5%. Those are all great interest rates.
Great interest rates.
Great interest rates.
Yeah, I think that it's always so important to keep that perspective, right? Most of us are in a position where what's our monthly outlay? What's our monthly outlay for? Because the reality is, Mike, how many of these 30-year loans that you guys put out there, how many of them are fulfilled after 30, like, you know, at 30 years, right? How many people pay on that loan for 30 years? That percentage has to be ridiculous, yeah, ridiculously small, right? So the reality is right now, the money is so inexpensive, you know, and I've talked about this on here before. Last summer, I took advantage, right? The house I was in with huge increase in value. I took out the money out of that house, you know, by selling it, took advantage of the lower interest rates and moved up significantly in house, you know, and then this house, when I look at the numbers around this house, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's amazing what's happened that, you know, and Susie looks back and she's like, oh, but look at how much the other house is worth. I'm like, yeah, but this house was the exponential factor was larger. So, you know, what we're seeing in value is even bigger on this house as far as an increase. So it's important to keep those things in mind. So, you know, when was the best time to buy a house in Arizona? Yesterday. When's the next best time? Today. So, you know, there are just so many good things happening for buyers out there. Mm-hmm. So fully agree, get off the sidelines, get out there when there's less competition, right? So through the holidays, there's going to be less people out there looking to buy. And agents, take advantage of this for your buyers as well. Make those phone calls to those people who went to the sidelines and talk to them about the importance of acting now. So, all right, you guys. Well, our time is coming to an end. And I know that was fast, right? I'm like, that was a really fast hour. So thank you guys so much for being on. Kevin, thank you for your insights into BNI. Thank you for your feedback. We appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you Tuesday at 7:30. And what a great organization. If you are interested in joining an organization like that, Kevin's been tagged on his Facebook post. You can reach out directly to Kevin. I'm happy to make the introductions as well. So please feel free to reach out to either of us. Mr. Mike Certo, every day of my life, Mike makes it better, and he's almost given away money. So you know, we appreciate that as well. Shelby, again, thank you for the last minute film. Thank you for your amazing insight into not only the market but also that business networking piece as well. We really appreciate your feedback there also. Thank Sharon. You. Rockstar, thank you as always. Appreciate you. And
you guys are awesome. Thank you, Money Mike. Kevin.
Yes, Money Mike. I like it.
I'm going to call you Money Mike from now on. I just decided that.
All right. I'll take it.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much. We appreciate you and look forward to being back here next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Don. Take care. Bye.
Bye, everyone.